What's up guys, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be making a full review for the Romancing Festival School Urpina banner that brings Urpina as a slash and blunt damage dealer that now wields clubs and can offer support for those that uses random attacks. Aldora, an overdrive specialist that can also give lots of attack and defense boost but relies on RNG. Creator, a heavy nuker that tries to rival Kihachi. It's not as strong but at least offers more support to the team. Okay, let's go to rsrs.xyz and start with Urpina. She has 136% SGR, 106% endurance and will, and nothing else really stands out. We start the fight with 12 VP, and on the start of a turn she grants herself Betting Knowledge for 5 times 1 turn, and all other surviving allies Betting Knowledge 2 times 1 turn. Well, those passes are actually pretty crazy, and they would trigger from either single full attack or random target attacks, but won't trigger from AoE attacks, or row or column-based attacks. Now, if you're attacking with a single full attack, you then grant all surviving allies an attack boost of 10% that lasts for 2 turns and stack. You will then recover your own BP by 1. Since Urpina can actually trigger this 5 times, she can do it via counter as well. She can actually keep using this and keep providing more effects. But if you are using an ally, you want to use random targets attack, because in this case you will only be able to trigger it 2 times, and this is the best trigger. When you use a random attack, you will then grant all surviving allies an attack boost of 20%, lasts for 2 turns and stack, and also a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 10%, 2 turns and stack. You will then recover your own BP by 3. How crazy is that? Well, you have 2 triggers for allies, meaning that if your ally has attack that is random and chase with another random attack, you can get as much as 6 BP in a turn, while still applying 2 defense boosts and 2 attack boosts. Okay, so this is something that we need to understand, that you want to use random attacks with this Urpina. Let's move on to the top. When she's directly attacked, she will reduce damage taken and counter with Graceful Battling. That is an S-power attack with nothing special. It is used just to stop the enemy from using multi-hit attacks. Now, when Urpina attacks, she always chases with Wind Cutter Fungo. That is the first skill. Single target, blunt and slash, then attacks 2 times with random enemies and E-power. Well, it's good enough for just 2 BP if you are using it as a command, but you won't be using it as command. You get this as a chase. You always have enough BP to use something better. Now, on even turns, you also chase with Grand Sword. Grand Sword is a slash and blunt attack with also S-power. But before attacking, you grant all surviving allies an attack boost. In this case, it will be higher. It will be 25%, lasts for 2 turns, and will recover her own HP by around 1,500. So, since she's a counter unit, and having this on even turns will allow her to survive better. On every 3 turns, you then chase with Mountain Splitter. That is a 5-hit E-power attack and blunt damage. 5 hit, it's pretty nice. It's gonna do a lot of damage, and it's random, like Wind Cutter Fungo. That means that when you are on turn 3, for example, you already have 2 different chases with random. Then on every 4 turns, you then chase with Lady Home Run. That is her skill number 3. It is random as well for 1 enemy, and grants her a blunt attack boost. That will be 65% on level 99, or 60% as a chase attack, and will buff all surviving allies status by 30% as a command, or 20% as a chase. And then it has double S power. Well, this skill here, being random as well, means that only Grand Sword is not a random attack. All the other chases will be random. And as you can see, you don't have guarantee multiple chases. You have one that is guaranteed, and then another ones that will happen in specific turns. Meaning that she will only trigger 5 times Betting Knowledge if she counters. That's right. Because even then, Graceful Battling is not a random attack. So you trigger a combination of some random attacks and some single target ones. Okay, so we should think that we have at least 2 attacks that will be random. Usually, your command in the first chase Wind Cutter Fungal. That is great enough, and will provide 2 defense boosts to the party alongside the 20% attack boost. Okay, like I said, she has no problems with PvP generation, because just by this combination alone, she recovers 6 BP. She doesn't have even a single passive that gives her more BP, because that makes for 9. If someone gives another 3 BP to her, she already reaches 12 in the worst turn. But she does have a counter, she has other chases, she'll always have enough BP to keep using Lady Home Run, and that is what you should be doing. You still have a chance to use Swing of the Soul if you want. That is a power blunt attack that then casts Taunt for medium effect in 4 turns and grants her a pinch hitter. That on the next turn, she would then enter defensive counter stance and double counter. I don't think that's really great. I feel like you should just use Urpina as occasional counter just to stop multi-hits from happening, and then use her for her Lady Home Run and trigger as many random attacks as possible. When you look at this, you may not see the real potential of Urpina, because it's hard to make a squad where she shines, but remember that she gave that knowledge 2 times for everyone else. Okay, then let's talk about other characters that could be used together. Creator, for example, he has random attacks only. Creator's Weathering Can is an 8-hit deep power attack, and he chases with this attack again, or sometimes with Purge, and it's random as well. So Urpina has at least 2 defense boosts casted, and Creator will cast another 2. Those defense boosts last for 2 turns, meaning that just those 2 alone will give you as much as 8 defense boosts of minus 10% damage. This scales super fast. There are other characters that will give you random attacks as well. One of them is Therese, a very useful character that I believe Urpina competes with. Therese can attack with her skill Frozen Arrows, and then she would chase with Double Ice Flower. And they are random attacks all the time. Therese already applies defense boost when she's attacking, so they will just keep scaling more and more. I made a live stream where I was using Therese and Urpina together versus Fire Lord, and Fire Lord gets stronger the more you attack. I was attacking multiple times and nothing was happening. I was invincible for some time. Another character that got released recently that has random attacks is Gustave. Well, Gustave has Grunt Strike that sometimes you want to use as a main, but you can replace it and use Triple Crash. That is from old style of him. That hits 3 times with 8 power. It may do similar damage to Gun's Strike. He always chases with Gun's Strike again and then Rampage Slash. That means that you guarantee to at least have 1 random trigger. And that will help Gustave has higher BP. He would then get at least 4 to keep using his Triple Crash. And there are other characters as well that are just single target focused. For example, you can run people like Leon, and you get 2 BP because he used it 2 times a single target attack, Imperial Sun's Word and the Chase attack. So although he would not be casting extra defense boost to the party, he would then get 2 BP per turn to keep his best cycle. All other characters will benefit from this, even Kihachi, because she'll get more BP to never run out. But it's hard to build a party that is based on Urpina. I know that. But the more characters you get with random attacks, the better she gets. If you get at least 3 characters with random attacks, you can already have a lot of effects running. Like I said, you can get as much as 12, or I don't know, even if the character does not trigger all times, reduce it to 10 stacks of defense boost. It's game changing. I also remember about Monica, that we used it because she could cast 8 defense boosts, and now we can cast much more. And even if you're not a full potential, Urpina really helps. Just remember, even though it's super hard to make a full squad of random attackers, theoretically you can get as much as 20 triggers at least if your characters have a random attack and a chase with random attack as well. Imagine 20 defense boosts. 20% attack boosts active as well, improving damage, recovering lots of VP, and applying defense boosts. Really interesting. Another good thing is she's a club user, and we won't have many club users in the game. If you want to get Urpina because you missed it out on maybe Tatiana, you're gonna get a lot. And yes, Tatiana is another character that she combos super well with, because Tatiana attacks with random attacks as well via triple stamp. So besides just doing damage, now Tatiana is also giving you something back, defense boosts, and she can give you 4 because you can keep using triple stamp. Or if you want, you can use Extraordinary Spoon and have the first hit being single target and the chase being indirect. That will also work for the latest Tatiana as well. Okay, now just to close up, she can also use some inheritances like Rising Nova Plus. It's a single target attack, but it buff breaks. Okay, it will be useful if you don't have another buff breaker. She also has Falling Petals from her second Global X style that will turn her into a counter specialist. She then evades and counters with Wall Winter Bloom, and we'll get extra BP because of that. There's also Torrent. Torrent is from her first 2GX style, and will then counter AoE with slash and pierce damage. And this is an AoE attack that will not trigger anything, but it's still okay. Besides Torrent, the other inheritance could be Dual Tempest, because it hits 4 times with C-Power random targets. Anything else is just not important here. In the end, Urpina is a great style that helps some squads become much better. It's a little restricted, but even then, the more characters you get with random attacks, the better she gets. And by having Club as the main weapon, she's really special. Not a 5 out of 5, but at least a 4.5 in my opinion. Okay, let's move on, and now we'll be talking about Aldora. She is a hybrid one. As you can see, we have 120% SGR, but 96% intelligence. Endurance is 100 and Will is 100, just average stuff. Agility is 91, could have been higher because she can buff. Okay, on the start of battle, she will feel Overdrive Gauge for everyone and then grant Over Enhance. That improves overdrive damage by 50%. Also, on the start of a turn, when the Overdrive Gauge is full, she grants herself Fast Stance. I'll explain this in a few. This Fast Stance will help her become faster when using her skill, because the skill that she wants to use is not fast. And if you are on overdrive, you want to use it before anyone else in order to improve the damage for every single one of them. Okay, when she lands an attack, she always chases with Heavy Sound. Heavy Sound is her skill tree. Single target, indirect, slash and hit, and if it's used on overdrive, it will then buff all status by 30% on max level and then grant a defense boost that will decrease damage taken by 25% for 2 turns in stack. As a command, it costs 10 BP and has double S power. So this is a guaranteed chase, but it has extra effects on overdrive attacks. Okay, you start the fight with overdrive fully charged and you will then use it to have a good start. Because there's more to that. When you use your skill, doesn't matter which one, let's say that you use Heavy Sound on turn 1. If it's attacking, you're gonna get Heavy Sound. And this Heavy Sound has a 50% chance to trigger another Heavy Sound, and so on. Okay, where have we seen this before? Claudia. Claudia's latest style has a chance to keep chasing with the same skill. That is Emerald Super Shot, triple S power attack that gives a pierce attack boost. Okay, it's just pure damage here in this case. Aldora offers extra effects to the party that can help you with sustain and improve damage potential as well via all status buff. Can also help you with fights where you're getting too many ailments on the start of the battle. Okay, then on the end of a turn she gets 45 points of OG Gauge. Heavy Sound having effects that only trigger on overdrive kinda reduces her utility a little, but she will be on squads where people want to be on overdrive as much as possible. She has 5 BP per turn. She also casts Over Enhance of 20% 3 times per battle, so everyone gets another 60% overdrive damage, and an attack boost 15% every single turn. Okay, that means that in the end, they get as much as 125% damage increase when on overdrive. By the end of a turn, she gives 15 points for all allies. And that 15 points will help her reach overdrive faster because she then has 60 points herself. Just remember that heavy sound can trigger chases even when not on overdrive, and that will give you more OG points. I don't know how much we get from using skill 3, but Prominence gives 20 OG points and a normal attack will give you 25. Meaning that she usually gets into overdrive on turns where she is attacking outside of it. But if she uses overdrive, she only gets the 60 points. The enemy attacking you gives you 8. If you are in a squad that gives a lot of extra overdrive, she may get into overdrive every single turn. But those cases would be when paired up with people like Hawk, that gives up to 30 OG points. Cordelia, that gives at least 30, but even more, depending on how you are using her. And people like Sheree, some of the most common ones. So you try to get Aldora to overdrive every turn to see if you get extra heavy sounds. Okay. Then she still has 20% damage increase at all times, reduces damage taken by 30, and gets an extra 30% damage on combos and 30% damage on overdrive. So just from this passive alone, she gets 100% damage increase when attacking on overdrive with someone else. Damage is not really her main gameplay. She is here to buff your status a lot and give you defense boosts. But there's more to that. Besides permanence that we discussed, that is a single target attack that will also give her a slash and heat attack boost. That's just free and we'll recover her a little. You have Wave of Fervor. That is a recovering skill that is on delay and will recover everyone and revive if needed. And then cast an end of turn OG Gouge for 2 turns. This will fill the overdrive gauge for 2 turns, and it's something that you should use in a turn that you didn't get to overdrive. Use it, Aldora will provide 2 turns of overdrive to herself and everyone else's, and you're gonna guarantee some great moments. But it's not like she is replacing really overdrive specialists. We had characters, for example, like Silence, that is an overdrive specialist that I don't really feel like it's game changing as well, because he can give you extra OG points that will not be always enough to get you to overdrive. He can also charge, and he charges via skill 3. You can recover that every 3 turns. There's also Barthélemy that can give you lots of OG points as well. Some overdrive specialists are easier to use than others. Aldora just guarantees 3 turns of overdrive, nothing else. After that, it's just 15 points of overdrive at the end of turn for everyone, while she tries to get into overdrive herself to give you extra effects. There is no need of inheritance with this character because you have to keep using heavy sound, and you could theoretically just improve her damage if you use it for Clad Flash, but why do so? I don't recommend inheriting anything with Aldora. In the end of the day, she helps in fights where we can stack on the start of the fight via overdrive. For example, we have characters that have extra chase attacks on start and they can provide special effects as well. Aldora will be there to give you turn 1 overdrive, and then a special moment where you have 2 guarantees overdrive. I have seen a Nameless, a member of our Discord, to use Aldora in the 7 Heroes fight to revive, and then give overdrive for everyone for 2 turns and try to nuke as fast as possible with Kihachi and Johan. That seemed to be a very interesting strategy. But Aldora won't be seen in too many fights. She's gimmick, not really bad, and deserves a 4 out of 5 based on community feedback. Moving on, we will talk about Creator. Creator has 111 Endurance and Will, pretty good status. 107% agility, it's not that high, but 142% intelligence. That's because he's a nuker, really. Good status distribution, not as good as Misty, but really good. Okay, he has 20% damage increase at all times and reduces damage taken by 40% at all times as well. Then he has this weak heat up 4 times that will improve his damage versus weak targets by up to 200% from turn 4 onwards. He starts the fight with 15 VP because he wants that to use his best skills on start. And then when he lands a weak attack, he always chases with Creator's Watering Can. That is his skill number 3. It's a 15 BP skill when used as command that has cold and sun damage that attacks random enemies 8 times. We discussed this when talking about Urpina. It has D power. Kihachi's attacks have E power, so theoretically it is stronger. It does have very good status as well and very good passives, but you can actually just get 2 Creator's Watering Can, not 3 like Kihachi. We'll be discussing this in a few. And you also has a 50% chance to chase with Purge. That is 3 to 4 hit attack with C power. That deals a little less damage, of course, but it still has a sun element. So Creator is fully a sun damage dealer, but mostly cold as well. You can use him in any of those 2 element squads if you want. Now, when you land a hit attack, you're gonna trigger all surviving allies an attack boost that improves damage potential by 15%, lasts for 3 turns and stacks. When you land a cold attack, you then grant all surviving allies a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 10%, lasts for 3 turns and stack. And this is where he works super well with Tatiana. Tatiana will then give him yet another defense boost that lasts for 2 turns. But then we have here at least 2 that can be stacked up to 6 times. With another 4, you can get 10 defense boosts by the use of Creator combined with Tatiana. Just for Creator's side. When landing an attack, you can grant the enemy a defense down that decreases the defense of the enemy by 20%, lasts for 3 turns and stack. This will mostly come from Purge. You will not be using that many lightning attacks. Also, when you land a sun attack, you're gonna recover an amount of BP that goes from 2 to 5. Okay, you wanna use Creator's Watering Can, and you're gonna chase with it if you are landing a weak attack. That means that you're gonna trigger this twice at least, and sometimes 3 times when you activate Purge, because Purge also has Sun. So at the end of the day, even though Creator needs 15 BP to use Best Attack, you always have enough BP for that. Skill number 1 is called Light Orb, and it's a free E-power attack that attacks random enemies once, and then gives you between 1 to 3 BP. 1 to 3 BP, that's nice because it's also Sun-based, it will give you also extra via passive. But you're never gonna use this unless you got super unlucky and don't have enough BP to use the 3rd skill. There's also Creator's Coding. That is a single target random attack with double S power that gives you extra force for Sun, small. This cannot stack and will improve the final damage of your attacks by 25%. Creator's Coding, it's not really that great depending on the squads that you are using, because Creator combos well with many people. And he has this effect called Green Thumb. This was given on global, and when you land a sun attack, you're gonna recover extra 1 BP, self-heal, will grant yourself an attack boost that improves just 5% damage, but also a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 10%, lasts for 2 turns stack. That's to yourself. The Green Thumb is applied to everyone. Okay, so you really wanna use sun attacks, and that will happen via use of Creator's Watering Can or Creator's Coding as well. The Creator's Coding is just 1 hit. That is not really that great if you are thinking about decreasing the defense of the enemy via other characters. For example, Xenon. The latest Xenon can decrease the stun resistance of the enemy via weak point stun. You can also use Creator with other stun specials like Impress. Impress will give you extra effects when using stun attacks, like 3 BP, and also improves stun attack damage. And also using stun attacks will apply even more defense boost, but those will only last for 1 turn. You can also use him with Fornews. Yes, because of the cold attacks. Fornews will improve his damage by 50% for the attacks that have cold. Skill 3. And will allow you to buff and amplify cold damage so that you get even more in the follow-up attacks. And we will apply defense boost to everyone, recover more BP and HP. You can also use, for example, someone like ScherBR that can decrease the pierce and cold resistance of the enemy, so that you actually benefit from the cold defense down. See where I'm getting? If you also want to use him together with Kihachi, Kihachi first style has that lightning wall slash. They will apply laceration on the enemy. Doesn't matter if you are leading a weak attack with this skill itself. And then remember that she has an 8-hit slash and cold attack. That's how she triggers many lacerations. Okay, with laceration active on the enemy, you have even more hits to try to decrease the defense of the enemy and amplify your damage of both Kihachi and Creator if they are together in the same squad. If you can make the sacrifice to have them together. But it's easy, actually, some fights, because Creator also gives you defense boosts. He helps defensively. Another way to amplify his damage would be to inherit something. And that would be his Sundered effect from the Halloween style. That comes in the form of Sun Shower. That is Cold and Sun. Again, elements that you like, because they give you extra BP, Cold gives you defense boost, and when you apply Sundered, if you land an attack on this enemy, the enemy will get a 10% defense down. If you have too many hits, it just KOs, and reaches very high potential. Especially because you can stack Sundered since it lasts for 2 turns, you can use it one after another. It decreases Creator damage a little, but if you are using Creator together with Kihachi, for example, Kihachi will do more. It will compensate the final damage. So, he doesn't really need that inheritance, but if he does have it, it is amazing. Green Thumb also allows Creator to become a Sun Leader. That means that you will want to bring him to lead squads of characters using Sun attacks. Just note that there is no limit to the triggers. If your character has, for example, 4 chains attacks, they will get 4 BP self-heal 4 times, get 4 attack boosts of 5%, and 4 defense boosts of 10% as well. Creator himself can attack 3 times, and he can also see it happening 3 times. With all of his BP generation, well, he doesn't really need all that much. But imagine that Creator could help other characters like Goddess as well. Goddess wants to keep using her skill number 3 Sun Drop, and that one has Sun. And if you can keep her going to overdrive every turn, you're gonna need some extra BP generation to keep using Sun Drop. And other characters like Xenon and others that will be released in the future. Everyone that has a Sun attack will benefit from being on Creator's squad. I suggest you ignoring the heat attacks, because it really does not give you much. The lightning attacks will be situational. Usually when you get a chase, you should focus on Sun and Cold, as Creator is really made for those 2 elements. Really strong character. You could still inherit the Creator's Flare if you want both Intimidated and Sundered on the same turn, or just use Creator's Wrath twice. That will give you Intimidated in the enemies. Every time the enemy attacks, it will self-cast an attack down of 10%. And if you have it casted twice, the enemy will eventually do very low damage. But this way, he's more of a support than a damage dealer. You should decide what you want. Creator is an extremely powerful unit. If you don't have Kihachi up to this point, you should summon for Creator because of his damage potential and having access to 2 different elements, like Kihachi does in her styles, really increasing the potential of your nuking capabilities. Creator is a 5 out of 5 and is the best of the banner, although Urpina is the second best one and Aldora is still okay. I have been using all of them together. I have to say that Creator exceeded my expectations. With him, I managed to beat the MacLeod dragon in 7 turns. Aldora is a little better than expected. She helped me with some good RNGs on starter fights, but I don't see a lot of utility in long ones. Urpina is really amazing if you have other random attackers. This banner is actually really good. I was thinking about giving it just a silver plus, but I will be giving it a gold minus because of Creator and Urpina being very good. This banner is a little better than the other one with blue, and that's why I have to say that it does deserve a little better grading. Blue got a silver plus, and Urpina will get a gold minus. I pull it here because I had enough gens, but both banners are still skippable. I have to say, if you have Kihachi, you don't really need to go after Creator. Urpina is great, but if you already have been summoning for Tatiana's Hanas, and I don't know, maybe you got Will, you'll probably be good enough on Remembrance. But she really combos well with Tatiana if you have it too. and will work well in other squad compositions too. So I pulled it and got the characters, but if you wanna wait for SaGa Emerald Beyond banners, we can probably see a glimpse of changes before the banner goes away. And we will have to pull for Tsuna because he's a very great style. If you don't have too many gens, I think you can skip. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Please say here in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. I hope to see you soon on the next one. Goodbye.